Towards the first of these 18 fences, and as they do so, Great Pokey is one of the first to show under Nell Courtney, coming to the first with Faringo right up there too. Great Pokey lands in the lead from Faringo, and Matt Reed has gone at that one, and looking back also, Country Tarragon has gone too, and Chili Poor has gone at that one. Coming down to the second, and Great Pokey landed in the lead. Blue Cheek has moved up into second now. Mr. Boston over on the far side. Fordstown's just in behind the leaders. Coming now to the chair, and it's Great Pokey, the leader. Great Pokey under Nell Courtney at the chair. Great Pokey lands in the lead from Mr. Boston on the far side. All the remainder are safely over the chair and coming down to the water with Great Pokey, the leader from Mr. Boston and Fordstown. Blue Cheek comes next, and behind Blue Cheek is Young Nimrod. Just behind Young Nimrod is Try-Fast Lad. Then on the near side it's Highland Man. Behind Highland Man is Abersham. And then on the inside it's Casey's Dancer. They're going out into the country. Another of those fallers at the first was Highland Man, and as they go down over the Melling Road, it's Great Pokey. It's Highway 5 actually who went to the first, not Highland Man. Great Pokey on the outside, Mr. Boston on the inner. Young Nimrod is just in behind them as they come down to this fence now. Mr. Boston just in the lead from Great Pokey and over to John Hanmer.
Mr. Boston on the inside. Great Pokey's gone quite a bit wider. Abersham hit it, but gets away with it. Coming now to the sixth fence. Mr. Boston on the inner. Blue Cheek out wider, and widest of all is Great Pokey, giving Nell Courtney a great ride, and well over that one. Faringo's dropped back last. Just ahead of Faringo is Try-Fast Lad as they come to the open ditch right in front of us here, and Mr. Boston on the inner jumps it well from in second place Blue Cheek. Third is Highland Man, 4 is Young Nimrod, then 5 on the outside is Great Pokey, and they're followed by Casey's Dancer as we join Jim McGrath.
And as they go over that one, Master Boston, a mighty leap there. He's in the lead and galloping on by 2 or 3 lengths here to Blue Cheek, and in the centre there at this stage is Highland Man. On the near side as they come now towards fence number 9 is Gavin Ragg there on the near side with Young Nimrod. Abersham is just behind them as they charge down towards Beaches. The leaders here are Mr. Boston with Blue Cheek, and just behind them Highland Man, followed then by Young Nimrod. They're 4 or 5 lengths to Abersham. Behind them is Great Pokey, followed then by Casey's Dancer. Mr. Boston led over Beaches, jumped it well. All the leaders got over it well. Try-Fast Lad is about third last at this stage, scrambled over it, followed then back in the field by Fordstown as second last, and last of all at this stage we see Faringo going over the Foynehaven fence. Abersham, a bad mistake there. Mr. Boston though the leader by 2 lengths here to Blue Cheek, and just behind them is Young Nimrod. Further back in the field then is Highland Man, followed then by Casey's Dancer. Abersham as they come to the canal turn. Behind them is Great Pokey, then Try-Fast Lad, a long gap to Fordstown, and they're followed by Faringo. They're the only ones continuing as they've all cleared the canal turn and raced now to Valentine's. Mr. Boston jumping well, 2 or 3 lengths to Blue Cheek, followed in third by Young Nimrod. They're followed by Highland Man and Casey's Dancer. Abersham as they race now towards the 14th fence. We rejoin John Hanmer.
Mr. Boston jumps in clear from Young Nimrod second, then Blue Cheek is third. A gap after them to Highland Man, Casey's Dancer, Abersham, Great Pokey, Try-Fast Lad, Faringo and Fordstown. Last ditch 4 out, Mr. Boston by a length from Young Nimrod. They've gone clear of Blue Cheek, then Highland Man and Casey's Dancer as they run to the third from home, and Young Nimrod comes up to almost join Mr. Boston. Both jump that well. Over in third is Blue Cheek, then Highland Man, Casey's Dancer, Abersham, and still going is Great Pokey with Try-Fast Lad, and then Faringo clambers over that with Fordstown. But on the long run across the Melling Road, it's Mr. Boston and Young Nimrod together, clear of Blue Cheek, and here's Peter O'Sullivan.
They've got about 5.5 furlongs to run and 2 fences left to jump now in the Martell Fox Hunters, and it's Young Nimrod and Mr. Boston, these two together. Gavin Ragg on Young Nimrod and Stephen Swars on Mr. Boston as they come down towards the second last, with Blue Cheek in third place and making ground all the time on the leaders. Coming to the second last fence, Mr. Boston and Young Nimrod. Mr. Boston, a faller there, Mr. Boston, the favourite, has fallen at the second last. He's left Young Nimrod to be challenged by Blue Cheek, and Blue Cheek comes to take it up on the near side. It's Blue Cheek who's taking it up as they jump the last from Young Nimrod in second. Then comes Casey's Dancer and Abercham finishing well, but they're racing now towards the elbow, and it's Blue Cheek who's well clear of Young Nimrod. Then Abercham and Highland Man are just in behind. Highland Man is Casey's Dancer, but Blue Cheek has this well thrown up under Robert Thornton. Blue Cheek, owned by octogenarian Jim Mann and trained by him, is racing up towards the line to win it in great style. Blue Cheek is the winner. It's going to be close for second between Highland Man and Abercham. Highland Man just gets there to be second ahead of Abercham, who's third, and four is Casey's Dancer. And then Young Nimrod behind. Young Nimrod was Try-Fast Lad. And Young Pokey comes next, a gallant ride by his rider, Great Pokey, I should say, and then comes Fordstown, and the last to finish was Faringo. And so the result of the 1997 Martel Fox Hunters Chase: first, number 2, Blue Cheek, owned by Mrs. B. Graham, trained by octogenarian Jim Mann, and ridden by Mr. Robert Thornton. Second was number 8, Highland Man, owned by Mrs. Hugh Fraser, trained by Swanee Haldane and ridden by Mr. Chris Wilson. And third was number 1, Abercham, owned by Mr. Oliver Carter, trained by him, came 224 miles from Devon to compete here, and ridden by Mr. Ed James, I should say. And fourth was number 10, Casey's Dancer. But this is the winner, Blue Cheek, owned by the man who invented the air-cushioned whip.